Uh, this is, of course, Corporate Radar, and we are focusing on the big winners of 2023. Today, we'll be speaking with the management of Welspun Living. The stock, by the way, is up 100% plus in this year. So far, of course, with a few more sessions left. We have the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the company joining in now to take some questions. We have Dipali Goenka, who's with us. Dipali, good morning. It's been a while. Thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. Prashant this side.
Hi, Prashant.
Hi, Dipali. Tell us a little bit about how demand is shaping up, both locally and, in the export markets as well. And talk a little bit about exports, because we've been hearing this coming recession in the US for a while now, which now no one is expecting. Everyone is saying, well, it's going to be just fine in 2024. So where does it leave us? It's not as if your exports suffered greatly. I mean, they've actually grew at a healthy pace. But talk to us about the demand trends.
So let me just give you a perspective. So while, yes, people were talking about the recession in the United States, and I continue to say that United States has always been a resilient economy. It consumes around 34% of world's home textiles. And you have a per capita of around $80,000. I mean, you can imagine that kind of a consumption that you have there, right? So if I look at the holiday season, I mean, in November itself, it grew by 3 to 4%. And that has been amazing. I mean, 200 million people shopped that weekend of 5 days, right? Around, say, it was around $957 billion to $966 billion was the growth that we saw, around 3 to 4% in the terms of the percentage. And it is also owing to the whole job, the job data and the wages, because I think the consumption is to that. But yes, discounts have been the run of the day. The Black Friday was a sure hit. So definitely you see that coming in as a trend. And going forward as well, I think with the Fed taking a call for, and that's already come and you would be aware of it, we saw the Fed rates going up. Now they're going to be going down. So definitely that's going to up the whole discretionary spend. So definitely that's when you talk about United States. Now, when I come closer home in India, you see a 5x growth in the kind of, the earnings of over rupees 5 lakh, and that is driving India's consumption. And it's been a very mixed bag in India, if you look at it. Premiumization, the luxury goods were very good. The rural was a little low. Quarter 1, quarter 2 was a bit slow, Prashant, but I feel it's going to come up because, with the elections coming up, the rural will definitely have an upside as well. So yeah, having said that, I feel that going forward, the recession is, behind us that way. But yeah, I mean, the Red Sea fiasco that's happened now. So we don't know any other black swan event that comes through. So yeah, looking at today, we are pretty good. But I think as organizations and corporates, we have to brace ourselves always and be ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you've done a great job at that up until now. Dipali, hi, good morning. Good to see you in. This is Sonia here. You've been a pioneer player in this entire bath linen, bed linen space, but now you're getting into flooring as well. So I want to talk a little bit about flooring. It's just 10% of your overall business currently, but what's the game plan? Do you plan to sort of take the contribution much higher in terms of the operational benefits that you get? Is it much better than your traditional business? And, how much are you doing in terms of investments here?
So I think, Sonia, first of all, we invested around 2,300 crores in this business in the flooring business. And it is one of the most progressive modern plants in this side of the world ever, right? Because usually the countries are like United States of America or, Middle East or China. Today, the advantage that we see in this flooring business is the upside from the China Plus One, because everybody's been talking about traceability in flooring as well. And that is kind of an upside that we see in the United States of America. This business grew 57% this year. I mean, we're looking at year-to-date quarter 2. And we actually had a kind of a EBITDA of around an upper single digit. So this is where, because we could leverage our capacities, which are around at 63%, used right now. But I think the opportunity here for India as a sourcing and kind of a sourcing hub is increasing. I mean, you see Walmart committing, Uniqlo committing, Toys R Us committing. I think everybody looking at India, and Lowe's also committing to India. So I think the opportunity in flooring business globally is a very important one. Look at GCC, the kind of growth that we see there as well, Sonia. And of course, closer home, India. India, there were around 500,000 luxury market, the housing that was sold. Again, I mean, now looking at the bottom of the pyramid as well. Now look at the government policies that are coming in the housing market, cheap housing. I think we see that kind of a boom that's going to definitely come and be there and retain us. So yes, that's where it is. And by the way, Sonia, we are not a traditional business. We talk about ourselves as home solutions, as Welspun Living.
Of course, you've evolved. I mean, from home textiles to home solutions, now to flooring. So you're definitely keeping up with the times. But can you help us with some numbers on the flooring business? On an average, I think your quarterly revenues are about 250 crores or so. Does that mean you can end up the year FY24 with about 1,000 crores or maybe, 800 to 1,000 crores? Are you looking at that? How can you build on to that number in FY25? Just trying to understand what the growth rates could look like in flooring.
Flooring, I'll tell you one thing. India is, again, a very big market for us. And of course, globally as well, GCC and the other countries also are coming to play up. Flooring will maintain a steady state as we have committed. Now, if I look at 2026 and I'll give you the numbers of even Welspun Living, we'll be around, 15,000 crores in, our top line. And flooring being around 2,500 crores by 2026. Retail being, contributing around 11% of this 1,700 crores, and a bottom line of, say, steady state 15%. So, and a CAGR of 23%. So I think this is where we see ourselves, Sonia. So definitely there is going to be, we are at 60% utilization, and there's a huge opportunity and a huge headway there as well.
All right. Good morning, Ms. Goenka. Nigel on this side. I recall coming across to meet you a few years ago, and you laid out a plan. It appears pretty much you're on track with regard to what you had set out. So pretty good going on that front. Now, in the near term, that's FY24 as well as FY25. I think in the last analyst call, you were guiding for low teen growth, maybe around 10 to around 12% approximately, with margins at around 15% and maybe debt coming down as well, as you've done some debt reduction. So give us those numbers. In the near term, that's 24-25. Do you stick to that low teen growth? Do you want to upgrade that? And also the margin front, will it be at around this 15%? Can the net debt level come down to around 1,000 crores? Please go ahead.
So Nigel, hi. So we will maintain our numbers of a steady state 10% because you look at a base, it's massive, right? So yes, so 10% steady state kind of a top line and EBITDA of around 15%. Just want to be very, very clear that these are the numbers, and it's kind of it's not just home textiles alone, right? It's everything that comes to play here. So yeah, that's what we are talking about. We are talking about a net debt, and net debt we have committed to be around closer to around 1,000 crores, and we're going to maintain that as well. And that's where we see, and we will continue. And so any other investments that we'll do, we'll look at with prudence as well in the terms of a ROCE, and which is now at 14.6 and will be, will get better as we go towards the end of the year as well.
And the last recorded number of the net debt was 1,600 crores, which came down from around 1,800 crores. So in the second half of the year, it comes down by 500-600 crores. Are we getting that correct?
Yes, absolutely, Nigel. Closer there, yeah.
Okay, got that. I want to understand a little more about pricing, right? How are we looking at pricing, both in terms of the flooring space as well as in, the bed and bath linen? Is there scope to increase prices now that, of course, consumption is also picking up, demand, premiumization has come back in a big way? Can you increase prices further across the board?
It's about the basket. It's a product basket, Sonia, that you talk about, right? And when I talk about United States or globally, I think it has to be very, very competitive. And I think that's where it's a very, very volume kind of a game and volume kind of a perception. I mean, the consumer is, believe me, in the past 20 years and the 30 years, the prices have remained constant. Only the offshoring happened, right? So I think as suppliers to these kind of countries, we got to be looking at our competitiveness, coming closer. And I think I'll also give you a perspective here. Our share of shelf has improved. So when I talk about a share of shelf, it's not just the private label that we sell here. The Q2 sold 67% of our innovative products for exports. Then we have our, licensed brands like Martha as well. That actually, and these kind of global brands like we have Martha, or like a Creative Collab, Christie, which is our own brand. They actually contributed to a growth to around 17%. So I think it's also the product mix that you're talking about. It's not just a towel and a sheet that we sell here. We have rugs, we have bath rugs, we have carpets, flooring, and also additional portfolios that come in with our licensed brands like flannel, fashion bedding. So that actually increases that kind of your product basket and your product mix, and hence your enhances your product mix as well, right? And India, of course, Spaces is doing very well, which is a premium brand, and our Welspun, which goes Har Ghar Welspun. We are on 15,000 MBOs that we're present in, growing to 50,000 stores by end of 2026. So yes, that's where we are, and we're good to go.
Oh, I mean, looks good. It's a pretty comprehensive portfolio in that sense. Just to touch upon something you mentioned right at the beginning, and this is slightly near term, which is these shipping disruptions. I mean, they're not yet to become very large, but everyone is talking about this. Can you tell us, what is shipping as a percentage of your total sort of cost? And in 2021, we had, container rates, etc., had shot through the roof. At that point, did you get hit in a quarter or two? I mean, what can we expect?
That year was absolutely a chaotic year, Prashant. And I mean, all the three C's, container, cotton, and the whole coal, the energy basket went for a toss for us. And when I talk about the whole containers and the whole ship, that actually contributes around 5 to 7% of a total, kind of cost that we're talking about, because it's we actually still today we ship around 90% of our goods across, right? Across the globe. So yeah, that's where it is. But having said that, I think the interesting thing is that, these which actually change our whole destiny, we are completely in control. So we really are managing everything. And I think for all of us at corporates, at level, I think it's not just about reactive analytics. And now we are going towards predictive analytics as well, Prashant. So I think for us as organizations, being more proactive, more, an ability to see and preempt what it could be is a very, very important, it's a necessity. It determines your fate. And I think that's going to be the way forward as well. So I think for all of us, I think the predictive analytics, the way we are going to be looking at ourselves, is going to be really the norm as well.
Oh.
All right, Dipali, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you all the best of luck as we wrap up this year and, of course, get into 2024. Speak to you soon again. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, that's Welspun Living, one of the big winners of 2023, and looking good.